Is there a rivalry brewing between Angel Reese and Kiki Iriafen? Every time these two ladies face off, there seems to be some bad blood in the air. There seems to be some tension between the two. Those two faced off in USA camp. Kiki Iriafen taking it right to Angel Reese's chest, knocking her over. Yesterday, they went head-to-head in the preseason. Kiki Iriafen saying, "Get that weak stuff out of here."
There was no applause from the audience. Her name was being used as a weapon. Thousands of voices echoed in a way that no longer seemed like support, turning what had begun as a furious altercation into something far more uncomfortable for Angel Reese. You could see how everything shifted the instant it struck her. However, what precisely did she do to cause that response? And why did the energy change so quickly? Was this something much more intimate, or was it just rivalry?
Stoppable.
An inside touch to Lauren.
Just dominant. Grabs that board. Look at that. My God. Seriously. Inside from Kiki. Wow. I mean, look at that pass. Y'all see that pass? Are you kidding me? How about the jumper? Inside, back inside, banging under the... That looked like that might have been against Angel. I don't know.
When Angel Reese entered an environment where the action on the court became secondary and the audience's response became the main plot point, a game that was meant to be unremarkable somehow evolved into a spectacle.
How did Angel Reese make the WNBA? Airballing layups, barging into defenders, double dribbles. This is ridiculous.
Every possession held a little additional intensity, and every reaction from the stands felt a little louder than usual. What everyone had assumed would be a routine warm-up match quietly turned into something far more turbulent.
Reese made it her mission to troll the Detroit Pistons. She made it her mission to troll a certain Jalen Duren. The Orlando Magic up, Angel Reese with the Orlando Magic center, Wendell Carter Jr., her ex on the Detroit Pistons. She made it her mission to rub it in his face every time the Magic did something good against the Detroit Pistons. Not only did the Detroit Pistons have the last laugh, the Detroit Pistons fans had the last laugh with chants of Angel Reese ringing out.
It all began with a typical talk that precedes Angel Reese everywhere she goes because, at this point, her very existence ensures attention regardless of whether she succeeds or fails. Additionally, she probably does not love the way the talk has been going lately.
And this is the problem with Angel Reese. This is what I told y'all about. She's playing outside of the confines of her body.
Should I say, and I agree with that decision.
She doesn't need to do this on this Atlanta Dream Team. Play within the confines of your talent. You don't have to force anything.
Wants to see if his defense improves, and that 7-2 run is behind the defense. The ball is blocked.
You have Alicia Gray, you have Ryan Howard, you have Jordan Canada, and they'll be setting the table and the plate for you. All you have to do.
Before she even took the court, she was already in the spotlight due to concerns about her role, her consistency, and even her placement in specific lineups. Every error is magnified and every highlight is scrutinized twice as thoroughly when a player enters a game with that kind of narrative looming over them. The contest that subtly stoked the flames followed. Because it's always a quiet night when Reese and Kikian are on the same floor, Reese answered with the ferocity that has come to define her. This time, however, there was a slight difference since she appeared to be responding to the moment rather than dominating it. The intensity did not subside as the game progressed. It got worse. Reese tried to finish strong around the rim in a sequence that wonderfully encapsulated their dynamism, but Iran decisively stopped it.
Hey, Clan, was that also an accident too? Because y'all know y'all say the first one was an accident when it was clearly a hit to the face. That y'all say that was an accident. So the very next game, after Kiki puts lockdown defense on her, then she just accidentally get hit in the face again. Accident, right? Hey, and it may have been accident. I'm just posing the question.
It was more than a block. She made a statement and then displayed the kind of body language that indicated she was fully aware of what she had just done. Never one to back down, Reese responded with a look that could have lit up an arena, but the game's flow and scoreboard were starting to give a different impression. Such moments often linger, particularly when they begin to accumulate. Once more, Ian was there to meet her with resistance that resulted in a miss after another possession, and try at the RIM.IT developed into an unavoidable pattern. She was not just defending but also scoring, stretching the floor, and demonstrating an offensive versatility that added to the weight of her presence with each repetition of the floor. She built a space that extended beyond a single play or quarter when she made shots from the perimeter, and then drove with assurance. One player appeared to be pressing the problem, while the other was letting the game come to her.
Dominant today. In case you're wondering, Angel Reese, still not good from the field. 3 for 7, 10 points. I mean, good God Almighty. Not good. By the way, Mystics defeated the Dream. Defeated the Dream. That was ugly. No doubt about it. Let's just check it out. This is going to get real ugly for you-know-who. Get out. Get out. She got all kinds of ball.
And when it appeared that the on-court conflict would be the only emphasis, the off-court plot chose to ruin the celebration. Because in the midst of all of this, Reese had already caused a stir in NBA circles, especially with ties to Jalen Duran, and Wendell Carter Jr. fans rarely let those opportunities pass them by. What should have been innocent banter evolved into fantastic material. Something strange began to reverberate around the arena during a different game in which Carter Jr. found himself at the free throw line. They were unwilling to extend forgiveness, particularly after losing a commanding series lead. The crowd's emotions were already running high, and Reese's previous acts gave them just enough motivation to make the wildest imaginable connections. Even though she wasn't on the court at the time, she managed to get everyone's attention. Athletes frequently capitalize on audience energy, making the irony difficult to overlook. However, this was the exceptional instance in which the energy totally reversed. Rather than encouraging someone, it produced an environment that resembled a group joke. The game was no longer the subject of the chanting. They dealt with perception, story, and the kind of drama generated by the internet that spreads more quickly than any highlight video.
According to Angel Reese and her pretend friends in the mainstream media, Caitlin Clark fans are racist! There have been multiple reports that Caitlin Clark is struggling to sell tickets. The demand just isn't the same. Speaking of Angel Reese, though, what I found most interesting about this list is where ESPN ranks their face of the league. Unfortunately for Angel Reese, the polish seems to be melting off the turd.
Reese's performance on the court continued to show how difficult her situation was. It wasn't catastrophic statistically, but it wasn't dominant either. One of her talents has always been her ability to rebound. However, concerns about scoring efficiency persisted. Critics find it simple to talk about a player who is well known for their physical presence, but finds it difficult to turn those possibilities into points. Players like Lauren Betts, on the other hand, were subtly putting on performances that attracted notice for very opposite reasons. Because sports rarely exist in a vacuum, Betts showed poise, touch, and a level. Comparisons are inevitable when one player struggles and another succeeds in the same setting. It is always inevitable, even though it is not always fair. A single preseason game suddenly feels like evidence in a much wider discussion as fans start to question choices, forecasts, and expectations.
As with most things involving Angel Reese, fans and her fan base, it's not exactly what it appears, and it's not the flex that they think it is. This Angel Reese fan writes, has there been any other WNBA player who got their name chanted amongst a 20,000 sold-out NBA crowd? Just Angel Reese. Oh, and I don't know why her fans always choose the worst things to flex. So
beyond wagers, The opposing lineup's entire play demonstrated a cohesiveness that Reese's team found difficult to duplicate. Every possession showed confidence, the ball moved more smoothly, and decisions seemed to be made more quickly. It produced a contrast that suggested a more comprehensive team dynamic than individual confrontations. Rhee did not vanish in spite of all. She persisted in engaging, competing, and displaying moments of the passion that initially set her apart. She attempted to establish her presence, made big rebounds, and fought through contact at times, but the consistency was just lacking. Her contributions felt more like visibility may become vulnerability, and confidence might be seen as provocation in a game full of highlights. The crowd's mocking chant of her name serves as a reminder of how difficult it is to distinguish between praise and criticism. At one point, you are the person who others support, and at another, they use your name to make fun of you. Performance is not always the only factor. It has to do with the timing of the story and how those two factors come together in the public view.
With this list being compiled by ESPN, you would think Angel Reese would be in the top 5, right? At minimum, the woman responsible for inventing a new statistic called me-bounds would not only be a top 10 player in the WNBA, Angel Reese should be ranked as a top 10 player in all of basketball, both real and pretend. Right? According to ESPN, Angel Reese isn't even a top 20 player in a league filled with players who would struggle to beat a team of high school boys.
However, the story does not finish here. Because, if anything, these kinds of situations tend to influence future events. In these circumstances, athletes either adapt, change, and react, or they let the noise define them. Rhee has already demonstrated that she doesn't fear attention. Now, though, the question is whether she can use it to turn the conversation back in her favor. Ultimately, the same group that chants your name to make fun of you can just as easily do the same to honor you. And occasionally, Angel Rhee is the difference between those two results. This implies that the performance is now evaluated based on more than just what transpired on the court, but by how it fits into the narrative that people are already familiar with. And that tale isn't being nice at the moment. A rising number of people believe that her game has not changed as quickly as her fame. And it's getting louder with every trip, whether that's fair or not. When compared to players like Kikian, who appear to be developing their skill set in real time, critics are repeatedly pointing out the same problems, casting doubt on her finishing ability, touch around the rim, and general efficiency. A story that feels more expansive than any one performance is created when the similarities begin to add up.
Reese, not to pick on you, but you're so famous and so popular. When you do good, we know about it. But also, when you don't do well, we also know. That body position don't tell me nothing. You know me, the coaching me. I like that. I like that. I don't know what we supposed to be doing here. Like, it's okay. But you sitting out there straight-legged like you about to take a picture. You better get into basketball mode.
This is where things start to get interesting, though. Reese has never been the kind of player who does well in silence. She cannot just vanish and let her game speak for itself, because her entire brand is based on presence, passion, and the willingness to interact. She must react not only with words but also with performances that change the course of events. The issue is that the error margin is getting less. It's more than just playing well when she takes the court these days. It's about making a statement. Every rebound must have a sense of dominance. Each bucket must have a sense of purpose. And since the audience is no longer merely observing, every response must be quantified. They are waiting for criticism, which makes their development seem organic rather than forced. It feels like a step forward when Betts does well. Rhee's struggles seem to validate his doubts. Although it may not be fair, that difference is certainly real. Additionally, there is the rivalry angle that is still simmering beneath the surface. The intensity seems to increase slightly each time Reese and Erie frequently share the floor. It is evident in their attacks on one another, their post-play reactions, and the audience's reactions to their exchanges. The tension speaks for itself, therefore it doesn't need to be formally acknowledged.
biggie after all the drama that went on with Angel Reese and her getting shipped off to Atlanta after 2 disastrous non-playoff seasons for the Chicago Sky. All the drama around Angel Reese and Teresa Witherspoon and Kennedy Carter and all of the Reese fans that were attacking with slurs. By the way, Angel Reese's own teammates, Angel Reese throwing her teammates under the bus saying they're not.
Rivalries like this are fascinating because they're about identity as much as competence. Rhea is the one that infuses every situation with heart, while Erie frequently appears to be the one who lets her game speak for her. The chants, the emotions, and the intensity in the arena are not random when those two styles collide. They reflect the speed at which perception can change. This is by no means a closed chapter, though. If anything, it seems like the prelude to an unanswered question, because players with Reese's personality seldom remain silent for extended periods of time, and situations like these often lead to deeper conversations. How she will react is more important than if she will. Will she improve and effectively and consistently put an end to the criticism? Will she try to outshine the cacophony with even more intensity, or will she continue to embrace the persona that made her famous? More significantly, would the audience still screaming her name for the same reasons when the next game takes place and the limelight returns, or will the significance eventually